Hi, this is Miss Park. In this video, we are going to learn how to solve for missing sides and angles using SOHCAHTOA. So what this refers to is trigonometry. So SOHCAHTOA is a tool we use for trigonometry. And this video will refer to only right angle triangles. Okay, so I'm going to draw a right angle triangle. Okay, and I'm going to put an angle in there. So let's say 35 degrees, and I'm going to give one of the sides, and I don't know the other side, so I'm going to call this side X. Okay, so hopefully you have had already a brief introduction to trigonometry and SOHCAHTOA. I do have another video that's just an introduction, but here, this is assuming you know a little bit about it, so we're just going to show how to use the calculator properly to get our answers. Okay, so I have this triangle, this information is given, one of the sides is not given. So have a look at the calculator really carefully. At the top, you see that I have a D, little d there. That D refers to degrees. Your calculator might have DEG, or it might say the word degree. Okay, the calculator needs to have that at the top. That's called being in degree mode. There are other modes. One of them is an R, which stands for radians, and the other one's a G, which stands for grad. If your calculator is in one of those modes, then your trigonometry answers will be different. So I want to make sure that your calculator is in degree mode in grade 10 and in grade 11. Okay, and so on my calculator, I have a button that's DRG. DRG is above my answer. It'll be different on your calculator, so please try and find it. DRG lets you switch between degrees, radians, and grads. So that's how you switch to the correct mode. If you don't have a DRG button, then play around with your modes and try to find degree mode. Okay, so assuming that you're in the right mode, the way we do this is we label the sides, okay, with the words opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse. So there's always this reference angle. This 35 degrees is the one we're working with. So from the reference angle, which side is which? Well, the 10 is the hypotenuse for sure because it's across from 90 degrees. So I'm just going to put HYP over here. And the X is called the opposite because it's on the other side of the triangle from the 35. It's across from the 35. This last side here that has no marking on it is the adjacent, and the word adjacent means beside. So this side is beside the angle 35. And I look at what I have and what I need. So I need the opposite. That's what I'm looking for. I have the hypotenuse and I have this angle. So I've got these three things. So I write the tool SOHCAHTOA, which means it helps me to remember that there are three trig ratios, sine, cos, and tan. Sine is equal to the opposite divided by hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent divided by hypotenuse, and tan is opposite divided by adjacent. So which one of these am I going to use? Well, let's see what I have. I have opposite and I have hypotenuse. So that's going to be these two, opposite and hypotenuse. So I'm going to use sine. I'll write it like this. So sine 35 degrees is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, and so sine 35 degrees is equal to x over 10. Put this one over a 1, so you have a proportion statement. And now cross multiply. 1 times x is x. 10 times sine 35 is 10 sine 35. X equals, and now you take the calculator. And all in one step, I'm going to go 10 sine 35. And I get 5.7 approximately. So I'm going to go 5.7. And so that I know that that is the length of the side is approximately 5.7. Okay, so that's an example with finding a side. Now, the other thing you can do with SOHCAHTOA is you can find a missing angle. So this is going to be missing side. Feel free to take the note, write this down from my video. Okay, missing sides. And so now let's do missing angles. Okay, so suppose I have a triangle, and maybe I'll draw it upside down this time, just so it doesn't matter. Okay, and let's say I want this angle. I'm going to call it theta. Theta is a Greek letter that we often use for missing angles. Okay, so theta. But I have two of the sides. So let's say I've got, it doesn't matter, let's say I've got this is a 10 and this is a 12. Okay, so now I look to see what do I have for theta. I'm going to label the sides opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is going to be this one because it's across from the 90 degrees. And then related to theta, 12 is right beside it, so that's the adjacent. And 10 is across on the other side of the triangle, so that's opposite. Okay, and now I've labeled it, let's circle what is involved in the question. So adjacent's involved, opposite is involved, hypotenuse is not involved. Okay, but they're not asking for it and we don't know it. But theta is involved because we're trying to find theta. Okay, so I'm going to write SOHCAHTOA again. And I'm going to choose one of the three, sine, cosine, or tan. I see that I have opposite and adjacent, and I don't have hypotenuse. So I can't use sine, I can't use cosine, I have to use tan. So I'm going to write this. Tan theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. Okay, right from SOHCAHTOA. Tan is opposite divided by adjacent. And now I can put in my numbers. Tan theta equals 10 over 12. Okay? Now, cross multiplying doesn't make any sense here because tan it's an action that's happening to this angle. We call it a function, something that happens to this angle. If you put in your calculator an angle and you hit tan, sorry, do it the other way. Okay, tan of an angle, that is a calculator function that happens on the angle 65 and gives you a number. So since I don't know the number, I can't do anything with this. So we have a new calculator function, or actually a new mathematical function called tan inverse. Tan inverse does this. If we know the trig ratio, but we don't know the angle, then we're going to undo the tan on this to get the angle. So tan of something is 10 over 12. So the something is called tan inverse of 10 over 12. Okay, so the word inverse means undo the tan, right? And inverse tan is also on the calculator, so I'll show you how to find it. So you know that tan is on the calculator over here. Inverse, you have to press the shift button. On some calculators it's second button, shift and then the tan. So I'm going to go shift tan, and I get this little tan inverse, right? Tan with a little -1. It's not really an exponent. It looks like an exponent, but it's not. It just means inverse. It means undo. I'm going to put a bracket, and I'm going to put my angle, my value in there, 10 over 12. And I hit equals, and it's going to give me an angle. So theta is approximately 39.8 degrees because it's an angle. All right, so my triangle, this theta is approximately 39.8 degrees. Okay, so we can use trigonometry, SOHCAHTOA, to find missing sides or missing angles. And the last example will be solving a triangle. So this language, solve a triangle, what it means is find all missing sides and angles. Okay, so if I had, let's say for example, I have to give you some information. So let's say for example, I tell you that this is 11 degrees, okay, and that this is, I don't know, 6, right? So I'm going to need to find some things. So maybe I'll find the hypotenuse first. So if I find the hypotenuse first, I can say, I can label from the 11 degrees, this is adjacent, this is opposite, and this is hypotenuse. So if I want to find hypotenuse, I'm going to use the 11 degrees, and I have adjacent, and I need hypotenuse. So adjacent and hypotenuse would be cosine. Okay, and then that would help me to find this one, right? And then to find the other one, I could use opposite and adjacent with the 11 degrees to find this one. Or once I have one of the sides, I can, and I have the first side that was given, the third one can be found using Pythagorean theorem. So lots of ways to find them. And with the angles, if that's 11 degrees and that's 90, then we can do a quick subtraction from 180 to get this one. So that's the meaning of solve a triangle. It's using Pythagorean theorem. So you use SOHCAHTOA, you can use Pythagorean theorem, or you can use the sum of the angles being 180. Those are our tools for solving a triangle. Okay, so please practice. Thanks for watching.